What up?
What up? What up? What up?
What it be like, people?
It's Sunday night service.
Sunday night service.
We in the
We're gonna
house.
sing like this all night.
Yeah.
Ooh yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
What is happening, y'all? We are already
sir.
on one. Welcome
You already know.
to Religiously Incorrect Podcast, the premier pastoral commentary show where we just break things down real raw and uncut. I was trying to come up with like a new bump, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
I was about to say, in other words, the show is just straight garbage.
The show is trash.
Trash.
Well, I'm Pastor Todd.
And I'm Pastor Jeff. What's up, y'all?
Man, I'll tell you
Come on
what's
in, come
up.
on in,
I'll
come on
tell you
in.
what's up. First of all, what's up is your likes and your shares,
Yes,
your
sir.
comments. I see you lurking. I see y'all lurking. Say hello.
Y'all out there.
So now I'm running into more and more people, by the way, before you tell me about what we're going to open up. Who like, yeah, I'll be watching your show. Like, why don't you say nothing then?
All day
Bunch
long.
of stalkers.
Matter of fact, I got told off because we wasn't on last week. That's like, that's what we wait for that. Matter of fact, I was leaving your church after your installation. Is y'all doing the show?
Right.
We at an installation service
right now. We're gonna do it.
Not an installation.
Right at the anniversary. Right now in the pew.
Now, well, y'all got to come on. I'm like, oh
Yeah. You be watching. So
Yeah,
introduce yourselves. Say hey. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Go ahead. What are we presented by?
We are coming on. We are brought to you by High Street Fitness.
Hi.
In the upper room,
Right.
High Street Fitness, which is located on 277 South High Street in Cortland, Ohio. Call our boy Mike Phillips.
Even though he doesn't call us, but whatever. Right, you'll call us back, Mike.
Can we do one of the cool ads for Mike? He'll get you built without the guilt. I don't know.
I like that. I don't know.
We
built without the guilt.
We might make that work, right? He'll get you built without the guilt. All right. So, hey, Sister Cynthia. Hey, Sister.
That's right. Kara Howard.
Yeah.
And Miss Johnson and Lady Charlene. It's good to see peoples. Yeah, man. So we're grateful. So, man, here's what's popping, man.
What's popping? Talk to me.
Your boy from the Celtics.
We can't say his name, so we ain't even gonna try.
Coach Ume Aduba. Is that remember that guy from the news? Ode Aduma. Well,
Coach Cool with his daughter.
Coach Kunta Kinte from the Boston Celtics is messing up. Is messing up, man.
He messing up, and I mean it's really sad because as far as me and Nia go back,
Hey, come on, man. Stop.
Oh, you know what I mean? I mean, she just
did Nia go to Wilson or something? You talking about Nia from Wilson?
Oh man, I'm talking about Nia Long.
Class of 89?
It's 92.
92?
Stop taking me back so far.
I thought you like them older women, man. That's all.
Now,
so Boston Celtics coach is suspended. We got flies. What's going on, man? We got is suspended for a year. Turns out to be a cheating scandal.
Mm-hmm.
And he was already in a relationship with Nia Long. Beautiful young lady, actress. I'll just say beautiful. Jeff will give you the R-rated.
Love Jones.
She was loving
trying to be the funk in your Oh, never mind.
There it is. There it is. So what is your take on this? I mean,
I think there's so much that goes into this story. First of all, this was this dude's first year at Boston.
His first year at Boston. Black coach
took them all the way to the champion. Dang near won.
Yeah.
Dang near won.
Yeah.
And quiet as kept the whole year. This cat been so I creep. Yeah.
On that TLC creep. That's right.
Download.
You, me, and he. What are we gonna do, baby?
But I mean, there's a lot of speculation. We don't all know what's true, what's not. What we do know is true is somebody asked Nia Long, was she working on it? And she laughed. She giggled. That said it all.
She's too fine to be working on anything.
She ain't working on nothing.
But that's part of the problem, okay? Because the commentary, and you may mention before the show, Pastor Jeff, the commentary was, well, how can you cheat on Nia Long?
Mm-hmm.
And I will maintain
Let's correct. Mike made mention of that.
So Mike made mention of that.
Yeah,
that was Mike's mention. So Big Mike made mention. How can you cheat on the along?
My wife had. What you mean? How can somebody don't? I ain't say nothing like that. Mike's
my wife watching too. We ought to have 2 breakups. So I maintain that there is nobody on the face of this earth who is uncheatonable. That's a Baptist word. That is a Baptist word. It has Greek and
look that up.
It has Greek and Aramaic backgrounds. Uncheatonable, which means that there's nobody beyond being cheated on. Right. And because here's the people say, well, she's so fine, Pastor Barnes. She's so famous. How could the coach cheat on her? But rarely is cheating merely about looks.
Absolutely.
And no matter how fine or beautiful or handsome a person is, once someone gets with them, you become common to one another.
Absolutely.
You can become stale with one another. You might not even have much of an intimacy or sex life that people think you do.
Let's just be honest. We don't know these people.
We don't know these people.
We know the movie them.
Yeah.
We know the movie them. We know the character that they portray.
She might not be able to cook. I mean, right. But I mean, everything. I mean, and all these points, I was reading some of the comments online, and I'm just amazed that people still think, oh, I get that there are certain individuals, females and males, that if I was with her, man, somebody's with them and it didn't work.
Halle Berry been divorced at least 4 or 5 times.
6, 7 times.
You know,
somebody cheated on Janet.
Janet Jackson. Yeah. I mean, all these girls that we think is so fine, you don't know their attitudes. You don't know their character, and then, like he said, most of the time cheating is about more than just, sometimes it's about power, and this cat got a lot of power. Emotional
baggage.
Yeah,
and just to be clear, some dudes and some ladies are just dogs. Period. You could have the perfect person that
wow, yippee yo.
There it is, yippee yay. They got that bow wow spirit, and you could be everything that the person wants.
Right.
You could be beautiful. You could be a good homemaker. You could be supportive. You could be intimate. You could be everything they want. And human nature is to always want more.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's just about, I just want something different.
Some people just want something different. I want what's forbidden. If you put it in front of me.
Back in the day, we used to call it some strange.
Some strange?
Some strange.
Yeah, it made some of y'all strange. And y'all went to the doctor. It was like, I got some strange. I need some penicillin.
You got a strain for that strange.
Yeah, right. You got a new strain of strange. But I see this all the time. And this guy has put his career on the line. Now, there's more details, and this is not like a gossip show, but there's more details that it could involve people within his organization. I did see, like some staff member got put out there as the one that it was with, and I turns out that's not the one. Right. So how does it feel to be the person pointed out in front of millions of people as somebody's jump off, only for it to not be? Then here was the other complaint that went off with that. Then there was, they put the picture up of this trainer or whoever this young lady was. Then they start comparing light skin versus dark skin.
Right.
Always, who's prettier than who?
Always.
Who's pretty. And I'm like, well, honestly, people can be pretty in different contexts. They can be beautiful to you in a different way. Like we have this certain image that is the Nia Long, Hollywood. Let's not pretend like this is not a done up person. I'm not saying she's plastic surgery or nothing, but she obviously to us presents her best self.
Absolutely.
Movies, shows, magazine covers, and all that. This person can be, nappy headed, blotchy skinned or whatever outside of the public eye.
And I've said it several times. We always think the grass is greener on the other side.
Yep.
The truth of the matter is you just ain't watering your own lawn.
Correct.
You just do that.
Then you get on the other side, you find out it's AstroTurf.
Man.
The
green concrete.
The grass might be greener, but you still got to cut it.
It might be. It might have some dog doo-doo in it. It's the way it is. It's green. That's why all the dogs be in it.
That's fertilizer.
It's green. That's why all the dogs be in it.
That's what fertilizer is.
Right. But I mean, I feel for dude because what a way to mess up your life. Such a personal thing.
And I mean, it's not just his. You know, you got a whole team that was committed to
family, kids,
going back to the championship.
Right. AstroTurf. That's what I'm talking about. And you know what's crazy is, again, in our wide world of social media opinions, you got a bunch of folk commenting, going in on this couple.
Absolutely.
And they got 3 or 4 themselves. Got poor people problems.
Well,
you know, living in 3B, cheating with 2B.
Come on, sir.
And over here talking about, you know, this $1 million coach and this $1 million actress, you know. So first of all, humanity has commonalities, man. There is they have domestic violence in Beverly Hills. They have arguing over money, you know, among the richest couples. And again, like you said, and I mean, I'll say that about us. There are people, we cut a pretty good image with our families, man. Right. You know, our children, our wives, we dress. First of all, there's people that hate that image. Then there's people that don't seem to understand that it really is just an image, and you're not putting on an image for them. You take a nice picture, you take a nice picture. Right. Here's my family, here's my family. Mm-hmm. But then there are people like, listen, we're imperfect too, man. We have our pots and pans moments, and we have our I'm not talking to you, and we just kind of just human, man. We just human.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, respect what you see, because it is not like a phony. People like to play that. It's just phony. If you have faults, then any image you portray is phony. Like you wouldn't be happy unless you saw that perfect couple looking publicly embarrassing and just trifling. Like that's what makes them real. But these are real people who are probably really in love, really feeling each other, and then real things happen.
Absolutely. And nobody, like you said, nobody's perfect. Some people have just learned how.
I say nobody's perfect.
Some people have just learned how not to get caught. And like you said,
some people got caught, nobody cares. And how about that? You got caught 9 times and nobody
absolutely
cares.
I hate, you know, even sports commentators who sit up in the booth and tell everybody what they should have done, how they should have ran. And you ain't never played the game.
Never played the game. Never done anything.
You ain't never ran. You ain't never held a football. You ain't never shot a ball. But you're going to tell these people who make $1 million how to do what they've been trained to do. Stop it. Absolutely. Sit at home. Take care of your own family. Everything will be all right.
And you know what? One more side, I guess you could call it like a side symptom of this, like I don't even know what to call it, but because we spend all our time giving so much attention to other people's drama, people feel pressured to try to share their drama to generate a similar discussion. So every time they break up, and I'm talking about people that are good and grown. It used to be like teenage drama, the teenage girl, I broke up with Billy. Now you got people like 57 years old talk about me and James ain't together no more. Like, who cares?
Facebook talking about it's complicated.
If you ask me, right, it's complicated.
You
I'm single, but I ain't searching. You know, I'm like, ain't nobody looking for you. But it's like they want to generate that dialogue. They want to have that praying for you, sis. Oh, you're a catch. He's gonna miss you. I'm like, you lying because you don't want him. You lying. You. If they were that attractive, and if the person was missing out that much on the failed relationship, nobody would be on your comments. They'd be in your inbox.
Whole time, dude is somewhere else, happy to
the mug. I'm free. I don't care what she's saying on there. Absolutely, man. So I mean, I mean, it sounds silly, man, but you know how I feel about like this Facebook commentary about celebrities. It's like we have to live vicariously through other people's drama, and the richer they are, the more successful they are. And I hate to say it, but in Black culture, especially, but it's in all cultures, it's like we set them up to knock them down. You know, 1 minute it's the first Black this, man. Don't let Obama mess up, man. The jokes, the memes.
Listen, before we
Obama,
go,
we're counting on you, Doc.
We got to move on. But before we go, 35 years, Will Smith ain't do nothing. One smack, and we didn't kill the brother.
He didn't even smack his wife.
We don't even want him to do another movie.
Right.
Come on,
I watch all the movies. Yeah. But, you know, we don't know what they've done because apparently they live in a whole different reality anyway. So they've apparently, you know what they did to avoid this? They just gave each other permission until young dude embarrassed them.
Right.
That's what happened. They gave each other permission so they wouldn't have Nia Long problems. So Nia Long, if you want to know how to fix these issues, call Jada Pinkett Smith, who apparently is still in love with Tupac more than she is with Will. So
I ain't mad at you.
Well, with that, you know what time it is, y'all. We've coming to the meme of the week.
It's meme of the week. Meme of the week.
Welcome to Religiously Incorrect, ladies and gentlemen.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
Thank you. Send us your memes of the week.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
We are, these are all jokes. We are just playing.
Tell them I said, hey, how you look after church after shouting and being picked up after falling out. Y'all leave my mama alone.
That's one of them whose head like,
Listen. Yeah, that's a bucket right there.
They grabbed the pew and just
right. That's a bucket. And you know what, man? We need to bring back that kind of church, though.
I miss it.
I miss that kind of church, man. It's too cutesy, two-step. You can't shout in them heels like that. No. Take that off. Let that beehive bun they used to have.
I like when they step in or they dancing for about 5 minutes and then all of a sudden they take off running.
Then they just take off running. Right.
All the way around the church.
Don't hit nothing.
Don't hit nothing.
Don't hit nothing. I mean, we need to bring back that. Folks were saved back then.
Saved for real.
People were saved back then. Put it back up. This is what saved folk look like.
This is what you look like after church.
This is what real saved.
Church.
Right. This is what you go to Golden Corral looking like. This is what you was at Shoney's.
This is the reason why wigs became so popular.
Exactly. The quick weaves, man.
Quick weaves.
Yes, this is it. This is it, man. So, hey, bring James Brown. Bring Sweaty James Brown back to church.
Somebody's grandmother looked Pull this out get the tweezers. Come on, retch around here with them tweezers.
Retch around here.
Retch around here with them tweezers. Pull this hair out. You need some clippers.
I already waxed your mustache, Grandma. What you? We're going to hell. Man. Hey, we need these laughs, man. Life's been hard. We need these laughs. We've had a hard week, man. All right. We want to thank our sponsors, Phillips Care Cleaning Service. Hey, we need y'all to come down here and get these gnats out of our studio. All right, Phillips Care. Call Fernando at 330-219. Y'all can read
Fernando
7916. And while you're at it, check out Phillips Lawn Care Service. You know, as long as I got my mower fixed, but if my mower didn't work, they be the phone call. Leaves, grass, tree trimming. They do it all. Maintenance, edging. You need to get it done. And it's too cold. People don't want to be out in the cold. They don't mind being cold, man. Put them out there. They'll wear a parka or something, and they'll a triple fat goose. They'll wear a triple fat goose and come out and cut your lawn. So thank you to our sponsors. Hey, y'all do me a favor. Like, share. We're going to have a good time tonight. We're having a good time tonight. We're just going to have some fun. Here's our subject for tonight, Jeff. Was it helping the hard-headed?
Helping the hard. Not your kids.
Not your kids. Somebody type in the comments, helping the hard-headed. Like, share, tag. Pastor Jeff and I, as pastors, we are going to speak for all pastors.
Yes.
Because there is an epidemic in the church.
They've all given us permission.
They've given us permission. They signed waivers.
Whatever different things.
They signed waivers. Ross Johnson is in on this. Bishop Paramore, a.k.a. Suge Knight. Pastor Hurd.
President Harrison.
No Limit Soldier, Pastor Hurd is in on this. Charles Barkley. Kenny Simon, who I call Skinny Charles Barkley.
Reverend Pettis over there on
Reverend Pettis. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We got a joke for everybody. And if we don't have a joke for you, you don't matter. We're calling this helping the hard-headed. Like, here's what it is. This is your seasonal issue member.
Mm-hmm.
This is chronic. That's a good word for it. Habitual. Chronic drama, bad decisions, poor lifestyles, failure to heed warnings. And here's the thing about it, Pastor Jeff. They come to church.
Oh, they come.
I'm not talking about, the world, the sinner man. I'm talking about people who've been in church too long to be going through the same patterns. And don't give me this. Let me just qualify this.
Uh-huh.
It's not a stronghold.
Uh-oh.
It's not a stronghold. Unspiritualized. Let's unspiritualize this, because there are very serious, difficult spiritual matters that people go through.
Right.
But then there are some decisions that people habitually make.
Bad decisions.
And here's where we're trapped. Because of the compassion that we have, and even more that we're expected to have beyond what we have, it just feels like it becomes a strain of when is enough. I mean, it could just be a basic scenario of a person who is not good with their finance. And it's not all about money, but that's just one of the easier things.
Ones. Right.
There are many cases, not always, when people need assistance. And at the root of that need of assistance is bad decision-making that will likely repeat itself.
Absolutely.
After the assistance is given.
And the bad thing is, they'll leave your church about the third time when you finally say no. You've maxed out them. Yeah. You asked them, you told them, listen, we'll help you the first time.
Don't want nobody on the street.
We'll help you the first time. It's all good. We'll bless you. We'll make sure you're all right. And we'll simply say, are you willing to do some kind of counseling?
Right.
Are you willing to? And and that becomes a problem right there in of itself, because when we asked you for your budget in which you pay, and once we tell you, or we see that you got cable.
Listen.
Once we see that you got Netflix and Hulu.
You got Tubi.
That's free.
But they paying for it some kind of way.
I mean,
stars.
I mean, you got cell phones, but you want us to pay.
Do we have a right to judge what they have?
Well,
and we're just talking about the financial part. We're not going to stick on this, but do we have a right to judge what someone's? I'm not telling you to sell your phone, but maybe you could downgrade that plan.
Yes, and you don't
get a walkie-talkie.
You can have
Post-it notes,
general cable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you ain't got to have a $300 plan.
You ain't got to have HBO Max.
You got NFL Sunday Ticket.
What they used to call HBO? It was one of them. No, send to the max. Send to the max. Send to the max.
Send to the max.
You don't need all that.
Call it Skinamax.
So get some basic cable.
But what if they've exhausted that? What if it's not about all of the luxuries they might have? Well, they might not have any of that. But what if it's a failure to heed advice and discipline on how to not find themselves? And I'm not talking about, something else just came up. But honestly, I'm not sure if that's always the case. I think it's easy to say, something came up and I'm back in a bind. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like once you bring a story, and by the way, all we have is a story.
Right.
All we have. At what point do we say, enough is enough? I'm sorry we can't help you this time. And we all know the old adage, you can say yes 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. And the one time you say no, it's a problem. And then what's the next logical step? Well, I went to my church and they wouldn't help me.
Right. Now we're the bad people.
You're the villain.
We're the villain.
They can't wait. They can't wait.
Putting on Facebook.
I can't
believe they wouldn't.
I knew it. I always knew he wasn't nothing.
I've been paying my tithe. Listen, your $5.
Don't make me open this book up. Do not make me open these receipts up. Now that would be, we need to bring back. In our church was one of them, man. The old Baptist churches, man, they would put everybody's giving in a book.
Oh yeah.
That sucker was in the bulletin. They told me that one time. I was like, listen.
We might not have those documents that they save after the funeral, but receipts.
Oh, we got receipts.
We got receipts.
I don't keep resolutions, but I do keep receipts.
We don't got resolutions, but we got receipts.
They'll be stored in the archives of our church. You know, your church ain't got no archives. You ain't got an office. Talk about the archives. Yeah, man. Good point, Scott. How many times can you get pulled over without a license? But but you're the church. You're supposed to be merciful. You're supposed to be gracious. And by the way, you take everybody's money every week. You take everybody's money. You know, Dr. Umar Johnson said, and you know, he's the foremost authority on all things spiritual. He said, the Black church owes the Black community all the money it's taken from the Black community. We owe them.
Come on. The Bible says this. We are to be stewards and good ministers and good servants. One or the other. It says servants or stewards over our finances. What are we doing? If we keep on giving it away.
But that's what the Bible says. But Todd says 90% of them Negroes don't give us nothing, no way. That's what Todd says. The TJV version. But when you have that, that's financial. Mm-hmm. But what about when it gets like behavioral and circumstantial?
That becomes a little bit more. It becomes a little more, well, first of all, it becomes more cyclical because, you know, a lot of people do some as age and a lot of people get out their financial situation, but some people are just,
they just get on welfare. They just get on welfare. That's what
the hood is just completely in them and they going to fight. They going to cuss. They going to, you know, you're going to keep on.
But it be bad relationships. Like you keep, you know, here's a big one with me, wayward children. Or problems with like, you know, they're not necessarily children, but they're young people in their lives. The young adults, you know, that's big now. The usually moms that don't want to let go of badly behaving young adults. And you're like, hey, at some point you either have to hold them accountable, cut them off, tell them they can't stay with you. You know, that's my son. I love it. But they see the result and the pain it brings. That love tie is there and it's genuine. It's real.
Right.
I would hope somebody would have it for me, but at the same time, I worry about what that tie and that bond and that love could do to actually damage the person. And you're trying to counsel them. And sometimes it's multiple.
Right.
Multiple. And sometimes people are making the same mistake over and over again with new generations of people.
Absolutely.
With new and again, you're trying to preach, you're trying to teach, you're trying to counsel. But I mean, there have been times in my life where I'm like, 2 a.m. phone call from a family I know is in chaos. Here's what I'm not saying I don't want to help. I get to the point where I think my help doesn't do any good. You know what I mean? Like come settle this dispute. Our house, everything's messed up.
Right,
you know, we're fighting. We're this, we're that. You know, that my son came home drunk again. Like, Pastor, just come out here. If you talk to him, I'm like, I don't think so. You know, I'm just being honest. Like, you're still free moral agents. You're human beings. And after a while, it feels like theater.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It feels like theater. And I'm like the audience and the actor in your theater, and I'm not getting paid.
Right.
You know, and I don't mean like physically, you know, I'm not saying I need your money to help you, but when it's so cyclical, man, and we use that word hard-headed because there might be some circumstances that are out of your control, but I believe that everybody outside of some extreme cases have some decisions they can make that I would rather hear you try to do something different.
Right.
Then you're calling me back with the exact same scenario.
Yours is with children. For me, and mine has always been and probably will continue to be, and it's probably one of the hardest situations, is when you have domestic violence going on in the house. And, you know, the woman is generally the one trying to come to church, trying to make sure her man is, you know, safe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you're coming to church with, you can't wear sunglasses in church because
all the time.
You know? Yeah. It's like, you know what I mean? We know something's going on at home, but you know, it's like,
now, is that hard-headed or is that broken?
It's and that's probably a little bit of, because I mean, I don't know. I heard somebody say yesterday. I heard a guy say yesterday that
because I feel a little out of place as a man speaking on a woman to tell her what she's feeling and what the cause of her abuse is.
I completely understand, but there is abuse, and what I'm saying is that it's most times it continues to go on, and somebody needs to step in. I mean, because most of these girls, a lot of it end up in death.
Right.
A lot of it ends up in death, and we can't just say. I can say, like you just said, I feel bad for telling a girl how she feels, but I'll feel better during her funeral. I'll feel worse,
I agree.
if I did not step in, you know what I'm saying? Because
but to me, that meets the definition of a stronghold and a serious emotional mental tie and brokenness that could predate that relationship or that was created within that relationship. I would have a hard time saying, "Oh, you hard-headed." That's me.
Oh,
now, I'm not saying you're saying.
No, you're right. I'm definitely not saying
that a female is hard.
I was just saying because you talked about things that happen, go on and on.
And go on and on and on.
Yeah,
no, I totally understand it. But to be clear, that even though it does include a strong hold and a spiritual tie, there are decisions that sometimes because of that, they can't bring themselves to make.
Right.
Hey, you need to walk away. You need to be willing to move. You need to be willing. And that, it sounds so simple saying.
Right.
It sounds so simple saying.
And then it's also, you have the guy who's hard-headed of himself because he's the one that keeps on doing it.
Well, he's more hard-fisted.
And
hard-headed. But it's still a problem.
And these guys, and they'll say, if you leave, I'm going, you either going to be with me or you're going to be dead.
Well, some of them come back around with that, pathetic pity, crying.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've had people get up in church and want to apologize in front of church to their wives. Yeah, I had that when I was young. That was one of the weirdest things I ever saw.
Woo, I don't know if I can let that go on.
When we get off the air, I'll tell you who it was. We know these people. I mean, he got up and did a whole "Take Me Back, Baby," and one of the church members was like, "Take him back." Go get your man. We're like, this is a bad situation. I'm on the organ like,
we let this go.
I'm on the organ like, dun, dun, dun. And then when she walked up there, I played like the loser, Price is Right. Do, 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 do. Like you struck out in Plinko. Yeah, I mean.
But you are right. You are right. And please, for all our listeners, I am definitely not calling women hard-headed.
No, I understand what you're not. But let's stick on that point. Getting up and making a show out of your supposed repentance doesn't make you any less hard-headed.
Say that again.
Getting up and trying to make a show in church out of your supposed repentance does not make you any less hard-headed. Mm-hmm. And I hate that kind of theater of I want to make a big show out of myself. Like I want to put myself on blast, almost as if that like makes you more transparent and real and sincere. When like, man, I ain't going back to that. I ain't going back to that lifestyle. You got crack in your pocket right now. Like you're going, like it's there. But I'm saying, but they feed off the sympathy and the attention, and they want it from us. And when we don't give it, when we say you're grown, you need to make decisions about your life, then it is the church hurt me.
Yeah, that's church hurt. That's
church hurt. And I'll be honest. I'm saying this as an insider. I'm a PK pastor. I've had friends, family, people. There's almost always more to a story.
Absolutely.
When someone says they hurt me, they put me out, they rejected me, I needed help, they didn't help me. Usually what you're saying is the fifth time they didn't help me. That's what it is. The fifth time. And by the way, here's the worst part about helping people as pastors in the church is because we choose to be discreet and because we choose not to put people on blast, we don't have much proof.
Right.
And it would be uncouth and inappropriate for us to tell
Snap
all
back. We don't snap back.
what we've done.
Right.
So
right.
we have to just sit there and listen to this narrative, go out there while that person walks away, finds another pastor or church, or in this day and age, just watching somebody on YouTube and then does the exact same thing all over again.
Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know them because oftentimes these are people who are not church hoppers. They're finding other people to take advantage of.
True.
It's just,
and that's the difference. We got to be clear about that.
Yeah.
A church hopper is, someone who is like having some new spiritual experience, or they're getting excited about a ministry. There are some people who are just literally looking for the money and the sympathy and a new place to tell their story and to be the one. Because here's the problem with a lot of our churches. Okay, let's talk about how, here's a good shift gear, Big Mike. Churches help to enable hard-headed members because churches love problem children.
Oh, yes.
And if you're a new member with problems, we just can't wait to prove to the world that we are the church and there's nothing too hard for God. And we're listening to the story at the altar. And then you wonder why we become cynical after a while.
Right.
Because we thought we were going to rescue so many people. Only to realize we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. Some of us don't even know, or we do know, and we think we can do better than the church down the street. We do know they use the same pattern somewhere else. And let's be honest, man, a person's character is just their character. Sometimes it's their pattern.
And here's a big problem with that, Pastor Todd, because some of the pastors enable in order to keep.
Dependency.
Yes. You depend on me. I'm depending on you.
Right.
I bought you this. You ought to stay.
Right.
You need to stay because we've done this much for you.
And some of them are so deep, they feel like you need my prayers. Like I'm the only one that can touch God. I'm the only one that knows you and your situation. I'm so intimately intertwined. You know what aggravates people? And I can say this is probably thank you, Seth. The need to be needed, Elder Smith. The need to be needed. There it is. And we struggle with it. If we'd be honest, most ministers struggle with it, especially not picking on nobody. But if you're a smaller church hoping to get some members, you'll take anybody. And I've watched some pastors do that. Take anybody, and you can see the red flags. They came in your church waving red flags. I'm crazy. And you're like, but that's somebody. And that's almost somebody to get us busy, or I'm going to help them, and they're going to revere me, and they're going to respect me, and I'm going to turn them around. And it almost never works out that way because they were never going to be impressed with you. You know what I mean? They were never going to be. We lived through that.
Absolutely.
I watched people that I love become very, very cynical about helping people because of all the people they helped.
Absolutely.
Then they turn into, I ain't helping nobody. I'm not doing anything. But we enable that. Big churches, let's be clear here. The little church here's the big church. Because we don't know your story, and because we have enough to not miss what we're giving, we make you feel like we're doing something for you.
Right.
When really you're just another number in line.
Yep.
Because we can afford the big trucks of food, and we can afford to just write you a check and make some example. I'm paying your gas bill. I'm paying your light bill. I'm doing, and that sounds so great because I don't have to even know you. I got enough that I ain't missing this. And then again, that's a toxic. There's always going to be somewhere new to go where I can get blessed when really I'm stuck in a lot of mess. I don't intend, and with younger people, and I want to say younger people, anybody who is in cyclical problems, they learn how to function within that problem. And whatever you think you're doing, it's just a brief interruption to them continuing in that problem.
Continuing in a hurry.
Hurry.
So what is and how much should we use of what we call the benevolence fund?
Man, we can cancel that whole joint. We do. And you know what's funny? We have not used it very much the last few years. We put a certain amount every year in, and some of our various offerings or efforts, it could be like our Christmas.
Second Baptist got to use benevolence fund.
Listen, we get calls. You know what? We get calls, man, weekly. You know what turns people off? Fill out this form and we'll get back to you in 36 hours.
That's it right there.
Man, that's my joint. Fill out this form. It like, never mind. And you know, it's always an emergency. Like, I need it right now. I'm in the hotel right now. All I need is $72. It's always some odd amount. All I need is $69.13. And I can rent this hotel for the rest of the month.
And the problem is, Pastor, let's just be honest. They don't kick you out after 1 month of your rent being
right.
They don't kick you out. I think it's about 3 months.
You got to be at least 3 months.
You got to be about 3. Yeah. Only people who gonna turn you off after 1 month is a water company.
Right.
The water company gonna shut you. Miss.
And depending on where you live, you can argue yourself out of that. But here's the thing, man. People know how to make a way when they have no other choice. What we do sometimes is give them too quick of an out.
Yes.
Too quick of an out. And we do have the benevolence. And that's what people play on. Don't y'all have benevolence? Ain't that why y'all take up offerings? Actually, no. Actually, no. I mean, a portion. And again, you're supposed to start inside. Now, I had to go to a scripture. I believe somebody can correct me. It might be in Timothy, 1st, 2nd Timothy, man. And I had to literally go to the scriptures, and somebody came at me, and I'm a widow. I'm this, I'm that. And like the scriptures literally say, your children should help you first. What are your kids doing? You got grown kids. Let them come in here and say, we can't do nothing for our mama.
Wow.
With $300 J's on.
Right.
Let them come in here after they was turning up all weekend at the club and say, we can't help with rent. You know, the hard-headed. You know what I mean? And let's go beyond that. Conflict and contention and bad behavior that causes confusion in the church. That we have to step in and clean up.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, bad attitudes, pretentious with other people. And we're striving as pastors to keep the unity. And here's what we end up doing. Explaining people to other people to try to keep people getting along. Well, you know, sister so-and-so, she's got, and, you know, brother, that's just the way he talks. And then you go over and, you know, you got to understand. And we're sitting here playing referee with people. And sometimes I sit like, could y'all not get along in a room together? Like if I, you know, basic stuff. Like who's gonna bring the hot dogs and the buns turns into a wrestling match.
Right. Yeah. And it just seems to me, and maybe it's just me. It seems to me that a lot of them are the older members. Sometimes ones who are supposed to be seasoned.
Well, let me tell you something. My biggest disappointment lately has been watching younger members who've watched older members create this chaos, create a church that people don't even want to go to that has this caricature, you know, like that everybody talks about on Facebook and the movies. Now I'm looking at people in their 30s and 40s and 50s who you call them fairly younger and repeating the exact same patterns.
Right.
And you know, we don't mean to be all super biblical and stuff, but let's just be honest, because the Bible does say we're selfish. We demand our own way. What causes problems among you is because you have these jealous issues with one another. It's basically a you-know-what measuring contest half the time.
Right.
You know, with who can be closer, who can do more. But we don't realize that behavior actually forces conflict to happen. And we can come around and say, hey, sister, hey, brother, when you talk like that, or when you cut so-and-so off like that, or when you knock a brother or sister down when they're trying to give an idea, that creates problems. Just let people, no, I don't want to hear it. You know, whatever it might be. And I'm like, but you're making my job harder.
Right.
Then I got to get up here and start preaching all angry on Sundays and talk about these no good Negroes. You know, so, I mean, have you ever been in a place where you had to just almost, I hate to use the word silence because we don't use those words no more, but you almost had to like suspend, like the Celtics coach, a habitual offender in the church? Like, it's like, hey, I can't even use you right now. I can't publicly affirm you right now. People are tired of me still letting you do stuff. When there always just seems to be some kind of, like, it's hard to say because it makes you feel like you're picking on somebody and there's always some, but what about what they, but I'm like, I kind of see it here.
Right.
You know, have you ever been in that position where it's so bad that you have
I've definitely had to, what you call silence, sit down, a couple members. And, you know, it was habitual. It happened more than once. It happened over and over again. And it's like, you know, mama used to say, what did mama used to say? A hard head makes a soft, but right.
Right.
So sometimes you have to let people hit their heads.
Right.
Sometimes you have to say, you know what? I can't help you anymore because me helping you was hurting me.
But at that point, you got to be ready to lose them.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
because nobody accepts that. When's the last time somebody accepted being sat down or removed from something that one or two things, either they left the church altogether or they went into such an inactive mode and almost always drag some folk with them. If she can't be the head of this, we all quitting with her. Or we all just suddenly take this back seat, we gonna act like, if I can't be over the cupcake committee, I'll just act like cupcakes don't exist anymore. Pastor Bowie is there. We should bring him in. Pastor Bowie said he sat down a leader.
I'm glad Pastor Bowie in because Pastor Bowie knows exactly who I'm talking about. He knows exactly who I'm talking. I had a guy come to my church, the last church I was at, not this church that I'm at.
Right.
Came to my church. He was there for a while. So was a minister when he came. We had set up a date for him to do his trial sermon at my church and everything. Done all this stuff. I get a call probably the Monday before he was supposed to preach. He was engaged at this time. He was engaged to get married. He was married.
Nia Long. He was engaged to Nia Long.
Listen,
plot twist.
This dude was married twice.
Okay.
No, still married to two people.
At the same time?
And about to get married again.
Where's your discernment at, Jeff?
Listen, that's what I mean. See, we don't know.
We don't know.
These guys come in so smooth.
Right.
They know the word. They know this. They know that. I mean, just smooth. This brother was married to two people at the same time.
He was a whole Mormon.
About to get married again.
He was a whole Mormon joining the Baptist church.
So when I had to talk with him, this dude still ain't talked to me to this day. No, first he told me what went on, what happened.
I remember that.
Here's the question he asked me. So am I still good for Friday or Sunday? Am I still good? At this point, I'm like, nigga, no.
Right. Tell Brigham Young to go to somebody else's church.
If you don't,
oh, Joseph Smith.
If you don't take your
David Koresh.
I'm like, what are you serious?
World. Oh, Polygamous Baptist Church, man.
And after that, he took. Did
he call one first lady and the other second lady?
They neither. He wasn't with neither one, but they were still.
They were still legally married.
Had to two of them.
Comedy.
Two of them, two legally married people. I'm like,
and a third on the way.
This
is comedy.
How is this happening?
This is real life for us.
This is real life.
People don't understand. This is real life for us. He was a whole Mormon in your church.
Oh, Mormon.
That brother moved from Utah. You should have knew something.
Man.
You should have knew something, man. Over there looking like, what is that, the wives' tales or whatever?
Man, I'm trying to tell you. Cool brother too, man.
But you said, we still good for Sunday.
Still good for Sunday? No. How's we good for Sunday? You ain't good for everything.
You're not good for anything.
You can't even read. You can't even read the scripture,
man. Right. Don't even sit on the pew, man. You just stand. You stand in a corner till you get right.
Lord, Jesus.
That's why we need to bring sinners benches back. Like, you sit over there. You sit on the sinners bench before you burn. We got to bring this old school back. I'm telling y'all, man. We've gone too far, man. And that's a part of it, is that we have lost the art of shame.
Right. Absolutely.
We have successfully don't judge me out of any sense of shame. I'm not talking about people shaming you. I'm talking about you being ashamed of yourself. That's the thing. And because of that, people can portray conscious decisions that create chaotic results as just life struggles.
Absolutely.
I'm like, you're not struggling. This is not, I'm not saying there's not a real spirit, but you're not doing that either. Because I'm like, all right, come to prayer meeting. Let's have some intense study and prayer. They don't want that either. They want a quick word. Then God help me. Because you know who's hard-headed saints' favorite people are? Hard-headed saints' favorite people are guest preachers.
Oh, my goodness.
The hard-headed saints love traveling evangelists. Hard-headed saints absolutely love prophets. They love revivals. You want to come into this, Elder Smith? Come on in, Elder Smith. Just stay in the back. You stay back there with Mike. We got another ghost voice. Elder Smith, our resident traveling evangelist. He's in town on assignment.
Talk to us, Elder.
Tell us that hard-headed saints love traveling preachers.
They love traveling preachers because they feel like they're gullible.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They play that role. You'll feel sorry for me, and you only know half the story. And the first thing I say is, I don't counsel people's members when I come to town.
Come on, sir.
There it is, Doc.
Come on.
If you got a problem, I don't even go to people's house for dinner.
Bruh.
That's the pastor, because
Tell him.
you might be the biggest devil in the church.
Exactly.
So they feel like,
They got dinner for you, all right.
They got dinner for you.
It's some dinner, all right.
It's dinner. You're gonna have
Netflix and chill.
Netflix and chill.
You're gonna have roast pastor.
Roast pastor.
You're gonna have roast pastor.
Have roast.
Yeah. And mash the elder.
Lord.
And mash the elder with gravy.
With homemade gravy.
With homemade gravy.
Oh, man, but that's exactly right, Elder Smith. And I'm telling you, and we sit back and y'all think we're haters.
Right.
We're not haters.
No.
We're watching people who we know
right.
have not been trying to do anything right. I mean, flip over pews at somebody who they know don't know they mess.
Know those that labor with them.
Know them.
Yes, know them.
This is why we brought the traveling event.
My late pastor should say, when we get those members, and I really have to say, this is two stories. He would say all the time, tell people, you're more than welcome. We're glad to have you, but you're more than welcome to leave.
Ooh. Oh, I need to write that down. We're glad to have you.
We're glad to have you.
And then
one time a lady came in and she said, Pastor, I'm going to leave and I want to know if I could get a letter before I go to the next church. He said, when you go in the office, tell them to give you 2.
Listen.
Okay.
Was it FU?
This is a true story. This is a true story. So we had this gentleman. He was a member of the church, and just in and out of church all his life, just always needy, always just coming. So one night, I guess pastor just had enough.
Mm-hmm.
And he came to the altar the night that the evangelist was there.
Mm-hmm.
And pastor got up. He said, listen, brother, so-and-so. He said, listen, all your life, you've been in and out the church. Your grandmother saved. Your mother saved.
Mm-hmm.
Your auntie saved.
Right.
But he said, and I'm tired of it. He said, tonight, I want you to choose who you're going to serve, God or the devil. I don't care which one, but pick one tonight.
Right.
Because you get to a point where these hard-headed people come to the office for counseling.
That's it.
But then they don't take your advice.
Don't take any advice. And call you from jail.
And call you from jail.
Call you from jail. Right. And I've watched a preacher actually tell people, don't waste your time praying for this one. Right.
Because he's just going to do it.
Because it's going to be, it's going to be, but we have to be, and put Pastor Bowie's mic, if you would. Yeah. As pastors, we've tolerated some behaviors when we should have been in a church discipline mode.
Right.
And because we haven't, when we do, we seem callous or without empathy. Now, I would say a part of that is we have let the pressure of the world and the opinions of people who are not responsible for these people, their souls, not going to be there for them. And then God help me if you are there for them. And I hate to see this when some folk are like, I stepped in where the church didn't. I came in and helped so-and-so out. Y'all put this, first of all, this is a big thing that's happened with, let's say a young lady gets pregnant or something like that. We're to the point to where you can't even say, by the way, getting pregnant out of wedlock is wrong.
Right.
I'm not shaming you. I'm not saying that you are a terrible person. You have no hope, that God can work through you, that the child cannot ultimately be a blessing. But the act that brought this along
is wrong,
is a sin and is wrong. And so here comes ghetto mama, pseudo spiritual person from around the way talking about, I'll take all the girls, and then they all end up screwed up and having 7 more babies. But at least I love them. But you actually set them up for failure.
Well,
right?
we have such a
shipwreck.
There it is.
We have such a because of, and not everybody, but because of so many people dealt with stuff themselves,
right,
even as pastors, even as leaders. So they want to have the same grace that God gave them, but understanding not that everybody can't take that, show we continue in sin that grace may abound.
Right.
God forbid.
Right.
Listen, sometimes that grace, we got to cut that off because we cannot just allow you to keep on messing, and don't let a member know something you've done.
Right.
They'll take advantage of the whole church.
Well, don't let me get up and tell the truth at the funeral.
Right.
When the grace ran out.
Right. We can't forget to implement that. Every organization, every whatever society, there's rules,
right?
There's discipline, because what happens, and with the new Millennium Church, that if you don't, there were certain things that we knew coming up as young people. Bishop is not going to tolerate this.
Your mama ain't going to tolerate it.
And there was 3 things we feared the most. That was open rebuke, being silent, and being put out. Those are 3 things, but it kept us in line. Whom the Lord loveth, he what?
Disciplines, he chastens. That's absolutely right.
They think when you come to church is the only place that we're not supposed to discipline you. If you let one and you don't show some, everybody else, well, it bother him. And the thing is being consistent all the way across.
All the way across. And I mean, it's true that in this day and age, churches that actually exercise discipline, they tend to not be. Here's the funny thing. They tend to either be smaller or they tend to be so large they can afford to lose people or lose gifts. And so they do have some system, as much as they might have, because they're large enough. I think it's those in-between churches that have a lot of the struggles because they're big enough to be thriving well, but they're small enough to still be dependent on a certain group of people to thrive well. Right. And so that plays too much of a part and how we're going to handle things. But, I think that we have to own up that a lot of failures in the church are not because church isn't good enough, loving enough, this or that. We don't behave well enough.
Right.
In and outside of the church. And again, whether it's relationally, financially, and all of those things, we don't behave to our capacities because we have been trained to believe there's always an out. There's always going to be an out. Somebody's always going to step in. And honestly, it's the world we live in, going back to social media and things. I mean, anybody can make any story sound sympathetic and get a group of people. I mean, have you ever watched some people tell a story? And it's not that it's not bad what happened, but there's more to it. And it didn't have to happen that way. And next thing you know, they're getting thousands of dollars in donations, and I'll take you to Walmart and let's all gather gift cards. And this is spreading beyond people that even knew them. And now they're just taking advantage of their own bad behavior.
And put Pastor Tatum's because that, and I truly agree with her that people believe that the compassion of Jesus overrides consequences for action. But I think people don't read the whole Bible. They only read about the compassion of Jesus, and they don't read about the rebuke of Jesus. Jesus did turn over tables.
Correct.
Jesus told the guy who was blind, he said, go wash in the pool.
Right.
Go wash. Now, here's the thing. He's still blind. How do you get there?
Right.
He's making sure that you really want this.
Right.
There has to be some accountability.
Some accountability and some desire. Right.
There has to be some type of accountability.
Well, here's what they say, Pastor Jeff. Well, Jesus and God, they do discipline and judge, but only they can do it.
Oh my.
You're not in a place.
Can judge me.
Only God can judge me.
Yeah.
Man, that's.
And when you're speeding, right, only that officer can get, even though you want to make up a story that I really wasn't going that fast.
Right.
But because who he is, you have automatic respect for him because who he is. But then when you come to church, you want to say, oh, he's a mere man.
Well, but the officer didn't write the law. He just enforces it.
Right. That's it.
We didn't write the law. We just enforce it.
We don't write the Bible.
And we live with the reality, Elder Smith. We live with the reality, Pastor Jeff, that we've all been there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
5 of y'all was speeding.
Right.
One of you got pulled over.
That's it.
And your argument about what about the others does not fly.
Does not fly.
Don't fly.
Does not fly. I caught you.
I caught you.
You the one I got.
You the one I got.
And maybe next time somebody else will get them too. But I mean, again, that there has to be limits. And I want to give y'all, next 5 minutes or so, if you're watching, if you have a scenario or a question for the pastors, this would be the last 5-10 minutes, Ask a Black Pastor little portion about how we deal with those difficult situations or a scenario. What do you feel? Or maybe you disagree with something we've said. I mean, come on. I mean, bring it. I mean, I'm down. I'll fight you.
You're wrong.
I mean, you're wrong. You have every right to have an opinion.
You have every right to be wrong.
To be wrong.
But I noticed though,
and the right to leave.
it's a mentality thing. We'll come to your church and feel like we should do anything. We'll go to the other church.
There it is.
And totally respect it. If they say sit down.
He's talking about white people.
Right.
He's talking about white people.
I know a church now in Ohio that you're not a member unless you submit your W-2s.
You're shaking my table, Doc.
I'm sorry. You're not a member unless.
I have a brother who went to a church like that.
If we did that,
you're going to hell and then putting on Facebook.
He's wrong.
You're a shyster. You're greedy.
All you want is money.
But you know what? And that's a whole nother. We've been through that conversation. But it's that mentality. And let's just be clear: Black folk obeying white people while simultaneously arguing with other Black people is like a tale as old as time. It's like you'll go to a white church and literally let him be your slave master.
Right.
And then come to the Black church and say, you put your pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. I ain't such and such and such and such. And if you walk in the white church and it says, sit over there on that milk crate, you sit right on down and sing whatever, good father, whatever y'all be singing. You talking about snow cones and polar bears or whatever y'all be singing, snowflakes and stuff. But that's a deep mentality, because I've watched people, including with the benevolence, including with the help, when they go to those other churches. By the way, some of those people have called me and said, we're helping somebody you know. And here's the crazy thing. And they had to do X and Y and Z and bring this in and report that. And they did all of that. And I'm like, word. Like, word, because I just asked them to come in and see me in my office, and they told me just cash app them. They don't even want to see my face, because that's how it went. Just cash app me. I need it right now. I don't want to hear that. So if you got a question or a comment, go ahead and leave your question, your comment. We love to hear from you. How much is too much? Have you been in a place where you were that person that did too much? Maybe you realized after the fact you were wrong. You ever been sat down before, Jeff?
Come on, man.
Several times.
Come on, man.
This is Jeff. This is Pastor Stanford we're talking about.
Let me tell y'all. I was going to bring this up earlier, but I
go ahead.
Now that you
open Pandora's box, right?
I really don't want to, but I was there. I remember. And
he was a habitual line stepper.
And for me,
Pastor Jeff was a habitual line stepper.
Watch this though. Watch this. But I remember I got up in front of the church. I was at one of those churches.
You did one of those.
I got up in front of the church and I just lost control. I told on everybody.
You told on everybody? Listen, if I'm going down.
I told on everybody.
You did like a Bill Barr.
I was with
her. I was with her. Right.
Yeah, your deaconess,
that's the best.
I told on everybody.
You did the whole Tyler Perry scene.
I remember after the over, Jinx was like, man, you just told on the whole church.
But confession is good for the soul.
But it also said, it also ended all those relationships.
And next week, Jeff came to church and the whole sit down pew was full. He was like, we all in here together. Singing the Jailhouse Rock. That is funny.
But I think one of the things we don't do.
Christian snitch. That's why Jeff isn't made for the streets. He snitch everybody out.
That's it. And here's the problem, and you tell me if I'm correct. We publicly sit people down, but then we bring them back real quietly.
Oh yeah, you won't know they're back up until they say the prayer.
I think it's ignorant.
And when they get back up, it has to be like the most menial task ever. They have to say like grace at the children's church over the crackers and the juice. Like they went from preaching revivals. they went from preaching revivals.
Go downstairs.
Go downstairs. You can't even teach them. Your first works. Yeah, your children's church. Just go say grace over the crackers, the Teddy Grahams.
Make them earn their position.
You got to earn your position back. Yeah, you do know better. You can direct cars to the parking lot. That's what we need to do, man.
And that's what I'm saying. Don't get set down because you excited because they're like, you back up. And they tell you back up, but you don't get to do nothing.
Yeah, you don't get to do nothing. You're done. You're finished. What is Scott saying? I need more details on this. Do your assistant pastors bark for the lead pastor? No, but I think I want them to now. I mean, now that you say it, I want to. Is there a video evidence you can send to us?
For the lead pastor?
Bark. I'm loving this. Did you mean to say that, Scott? Because I'm interested.
I'm trying to figure out what he means.
I mean, I'm almost as interested in that comment as I is that profile pic he got up of the goat. This is interesting all the way around.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is straight Farmer Jim up in this piece. Do your assistant pastors bark for the lead pastor? Listen, they might let you know that's like
Browns
some Cleveland Browns, I was about to say. Or accused. A whole church is full of accused. Oh man, this is hilarious. This is I needed tonight. So Saints, first of all, here's the lesson for tonight. Don't be hard-headed. Don't make our jobs hard.
And stop coming to my church for money. I ain't got none.
We ain't got none.
We don't even got a benevolence fund.
Benevolence fund?
We got one, but y'all...
You can't have it.
Y'all can't have it.
I make you talk to the meanest deacon I got to try to get it. If you can conquer... It's like the big boss on a Nintendo game. If you can conquer that boss, you can get the money. Yeah, but I mean, it's stressful, man. I mean, I don't think people... And here, okay, the serious part before we go. You really do love these people and want better for them. You really want better for them.
Do.
And you kind of beat yourself up that you haven't been able to coach them into better.
And let me just say this. When I asked you, have you been to TCAP?
Listen, have you Catholic Charities, United Way?
Have you been, and you tell me you've been to all them?
Did you try selling drugs?
Turn it off.
Did you at least try? I mean, did you at least try to slay? Did you even give it a week? I'm just saying. Did you try? Where's the effort? That's what I want to know. Where? Show me. You put some work in.
You ain't been out there on 4th and Highland at all.
Why? This is not easy at all. It's crazy, man.
I was in Toledo and I was riding down the street, and you have the people sitting by the lights trying to get money. This guy's sign said, "Laid off, broke, need money for a hooker and a beer." And do you not know people got out their car?
You know what?
And they and for his honesty. But sometimes
that's a true Christian right there.
Sometimes you want more for the people than they want for themselves.
Than they want for themselves.
That's a hard situation. That's a hard situation. I've taken you as far as you can go.
Right.
I can't take you any further.
Okay, I see what Scott is saying.
Let me see.
Do you have like bulldog assistants that do the dirty work?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Go in. I don't, but there have been times when I wish I did. And I know I'll say no names. That's another name I'll tell you when we get off, and people that we mutually know, where they do have people with that. Like, it's their job to be mean to the members that the pastor is not man or woman enough to address directly. And they go around rebuking, calling out their sins and all that, and pastoral authority. I get that, Scott. Okay, I'm feeling that. Yeah. I know some people. I like how you put that, though. Do your assistant pastors bark for the lead pastor? Listen, I'm going to have a meeting and say, I need y'all to bark. Give me your best bark.
Need a barker.
Give me your best bark.
You need a pit bull.
I need that pit bull. That's right. I mean, that one has been
yippee,
right.
Yo, yippee.
I need some of that Michael Vick stuff. Time to go. Peter's calling. Hey, y'all, this has been good, man. This has
been great.
I came in here dead tired. We've been mourning, grieving. It's been a hard weekend, but man, this little night, especially the part about slanging.
Let us laugh. Let us laugh. Let us have fun.
Every pastor needs an ear cutting Peter. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mine was my cousin. Well, she wasn't even a Peter, honestly, but my cousin Crystal, God rest her soul, she would fight you for me. She would tell people. Now we got one. You know who we got? Yes, it's Sherry.
Oh, yeah, Sherry, definitely.
She's like, I will come to your church and just you point them out, and I'll karate chop them.
I don't need one. I got my wife.
Oh, you got your wife.
My wife would tell you off in a minute.
Shamika ain't fought nobody since Jefferson. She don't know how to.
She would tell you off in a
She don't know how to fight. But yeah, my cousin Crystal rest her soul, man. She was.
I mean, but you also
she would get you.
Tony was pretty good.
Oh, Tony was packing and everything. He had that briefcase. and the bows.
Absolutely.
And them hunting bows. Yeah, I wouldn't even mess with Tony. That's my best friend forever. So, hey, y'all, this has been real. This has been live. Make sure you continue to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you actually follow the pages. Don't just watch. Hit the follow button. Hit the like button. Go back and rewatch some shows. We've had some good ones lately, and we got some good ones coming up. But, man, this was a good night, man. Don't be hard-headed, because you know what they say. You already said it. A hard head makes a...
Don't be cruel. Don't be.
There
don't
it is.
be,
We're singing
baby.
again. We're singing again. Big Mike, you want to say anything? Big Mike is good. I think I took him out with the slang comment. So, hey.
He got to go home and talk to his wife about that whole Neil Long thing.
Right. I got to talk about that Neil Long thing. Hey, man, we really appreciate you all watching. Thank you for liking, for sharing, for commenting, for hitting the hearts, the likes. Until next time, meet you at Sunday night service. God bless you. God keep you.